All right, Virgo, Sun, Moon, Rising. How are you? Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. Welcome in. This is your December reading. Going to talk about what you can expect or how you can best harness the energies of December, as I always do. If you want to learn more how to work with your chart and how to harness the energies of 2026, there's a couple things. I did a 2026 forecast workshop, 5 hours worth of stuff. Link is below for that. And I also have a comprehensive astrology course so that you can always know how to manage your energy, how to embrace what's going on. All right, let's see what's happening here. Virgo, I see the Divine Masculine card and the Karmic Path card. So let's see what comes out in the reading. Oh, here's Saturn again. Saturn underneath. So we have Saturn at the end of Pisces, which is your opposite sign. And what that means to me essentially is that you're letting go, and that we just had a full moon in Gemini, which is sitting in your 10th house. And there's something really powerful about you letting go of old stories right now. Letting go of who you thought you were, and maybe that's just not working anymore. Okay? So transformation. Abso-freaking-lutely, Virgo. Full moon. Just had that full moon in Gemini. And Earth. All right, I like that. Capricorn. We have moving into Capricorn season later this month. Sagittarius time is a time where it's the final sign of the fall. It's like 2 degrees outside right now. And it's like, hey, it's still fall. It's not even winter yet here in the place I'm living. So this is really saying, like, the end of the fall is when the darkness is the most dominating force, right? It takes, it's the shortest days of the year in the Northern Hemisphere. On the winter solstice, which happens this month, winter solstice, we move into Capricorn time. We have a new moon in Sagittarius. So there's time to plant the seeds of optimism. But before we do that, I feel like because there was a full moon in Gemini just a day or two ago, there is about the shedding of the old story that has to come first. So you can't sort of layer on a new identity. You really do have to let go of the other one. So I want to tell you that when I was living in another town in Maine, there was a great little restaurant, farm to table Mexican food, which was just incredibly fresh and delicious. And January 1st, so what they did basically, and I'm telling you this because this was a good example of layering old stories over the previous story. It's not calling the old story bad. It's just saying that it's not here anymore. So in the beginning of the year, they would start putting up decorations for each holiday. So like they had, St. Patrick's Day was, we put up the decorations for St. Patrick's Day, but then they wouldn't take them down. They would just put up new decorations for the next holiday. And I don't know about you, but sometimes when a holiday is passed and you see the decorations of the old holiday, it's kind of like, it's gone. That energy is passed through or gone by. You just know it. So like by the end of the year, they had decorations layered for all of the holidays. So on New Year's Eve, their tradition was that some of the locals would come in and bartend, and the staff would have their New Year's Eve party, and part of the New Year's Eve party was taking down the old decorations for a fresh year. And I'm getting a lot of spirituals on that because there's something about, their decorations. They're happy. They're not destructive or negative in any way. They're just not relevant anymore, right? Think about somebody having like Christmas decorations up all year round. And my mother would do this with her at the end of her life, with her Christmas tree. She had a silk Christmas tree, which was really beautiful. And she left up her Christmas tree all year round. And my ex-husband and I came over one day, and in like March, like as it was getting on toward Easter, And Steve said, "Oh, Mom, I'll take that down for you. You know, sorry we didn't get here sooner. Weren't here because we were living at quite a distance." And she was like, "Don't you touch that tree. It has memories. It has pictures." And he was like, "Okay." But we did have to replace. You might be interested to learn that those Christmas lights do burn out after a while, so we had to replace the Christmas lights on the tree, like taking them down and then putting them up again underneath all of the ornaments. It was really challenging. So, but that's what she wanted. But there was just a sense of like, oh, it needs to go away now. Right. And that's what it is to let go of an old story. It really is like walking around in July with Christmas decorations. You're like, oh, what's wrong with that? What's going on with that person? Okay. So, or what's just going on, right? What's going on? If you're hanging on to these old, not decorations, but if you're hanging on to these old stories, it's pretty obvious to other people too. Other people see it. Awakening. Other people can see it, that it's like, that's not who you are anymore. You're really, it's like wearing ill-fitting clothes, you know, from like 10 years ago. You're like, I'm keeping this because it's going to fit someday. It may fit, but it's like 10 years later and everyone's like, why is she wearing things from the 90s? Okay. All right. Let's see what the reading has to say here. 2 of Cups, High Priestess, the World, the 9 of Cups. Wow. 10 of Swords and the 2 of Wands. There's definitely something here about a relationship, a spiritual connection, that maybe has moved on. Okay. So some of you, I'm just going to fix this. Some of you have been in relationships with people in the past, and it's like, it can't stay at 2 of Cups anymore. So it's either done or we're making a new decision of what this is, right? Like, we're not going to stay at this, you know, if things don't grow, they stagnate. You're either growing or you're dying. And this 10 of Swords says like that old story is really done. So it can be that this was how you were with this person all this time. And now that story is done. So now we have to transform into a new story. We either grow together or it's done. Okay. Fool. New path. Tower. Wow. The Star. Oh, I like that. Justice. Virgo. The Sun. I'm not going to say it. It doesn't matter if I say it. I was just going to be like, wow, look at all those major arcana cards. All the first 5 cards out are major arcana cards, which says this particular time is a major deal. And remember what I said about the darkness? When we have the solstice on the 20th, the light starts to return. That's the shortest day of the year. And then the light starts to come back. And so by next spring, right, there'll be equinox, and then the light will take over. And right now the darkness has taken over. So when we have this solstice coming up, it's the time of like, okay, the tide is turning. And Knight of Pentacles, because there's the Sun, Knight of Pentacles. So this could be a bit of a timing card, that the Sun is returning, and even this can be like a 6-month look ahead even. All right. So let's see. The Moon playing a big role in this reading. So the biggest thing to do here is let go of the old story. This relationship thing may just be it's not a canary in a coal mine, but this relationship, or how you kind of like wanted to keep it like encased in amber, like this person never grows or changes. That's just simply not true. The person is growing and changing, and something is done. I feel like this summer, next summer, for 2026, we have Uranus firmly getting into Gemini. There's going to be a lot of sudden growth and change. And I feel like this is saying to you now, like, now's the time Now's the time to plant the seeds for this next 6 months. Of course, that full moon we just had in Gemini is about letting go of the old story. The earth energy there, this can be about career. I noticed that, if you have Gemini in your 10th house of career, letting go of an old story, not only around love, but around who you are in general. And that means it's going to kind of run the table in terms of all of your interactions, all of who you're presenting yourself to be in the world is changing. And I'm getting the sense right now of like redefining between now and the new moon. Let's see, the new moon in Sag. Oops, don't do that. The new moon in Sag. Sorry, I got my little almanac here. 28 degrees on the 19th of December in 19th or 20th of December, depending on where you are in the world. If you're in Europe, it's the 20th of December. And that new moon in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is very much about a telling of the truth. Same with Gemini. So you notice that the full moon in Gemini, the new moon in Sag are opposite signs. Gemini is about data points, is about granular information and how you're communicating information like about yourself and about what you want and all of that kind of stuff. And then, Sagittarian energy is about seeing the big picture, connecting the dots. And I'm getting Leo, Libra, Aquarius energy here, Cancer energy. There's something that you want in life that requires you to tell a new story about who you are. If you're wanting love, but you've told a story that you're not, that you always are, like love has been very challenging for you, it's time to change that story. Not even the story of this relationship, but that is one thing. I feel like this person really taught you something about what it is that you want or don't want. And now as we're moving toward the solstice and we're moving toward this new moon in Sagittarius, that's really when the new story starts. And with a bang here. Tower. Let's clarify a few things, because this Knight of Swords and the Four of Swords, this can be some kind of spiritual downloads about this subject. Okay? About this subject. So let me ask it first. Let's ask about the Tower. Ace of Cups. Four of Cups. Eight of Cups. Nine of Swords. I feel like you had an opportunity. And maybe you walked away from it. And that's been bothering you. The opportunity couldn't have materialized or existed because you were still telling that old story. You were still talking a good game about the person that you used to be, but that doesn't exist anymore. I mean, honestly, like it hasn't existed for a long time. It really hasn't. This Virgo energy, there you are. There's a lot of healing energy in Virgo, and you got the Aquarian card right above it with the star. So what is that Knight of Pentacles talking about? You had an opportunity and then it's over. Again, I'm seeing that over here too. I feel like you make a new decision because you're a new person. You're completely different now. Six of Pentacles. Maybe you've gone through something really traumatic. Five of Wands. King of Swords. Lover's card. New decision, new path. The Six of Pentacles and the Knight of Pentacles are about, I almost feel like you've been resisting equality, maybe in this relationship, meaning being as vulnerable as the other person is. That's the only way to build a relationship. Honestly, one person can't be the stalwart never say anything about their feelings and the other person just dances around. Super unhealthy. So this is about, I'm putting in the work and effort for things to be collaborative and balanced and more, equity in a relationship. The Five of Wands and the King of Swords. The Five of Wands is about conflict. And so when conflict happens, King of Swords, I go cold. This is about a new way of doing things. And there's a lot of healing energy in this reading. Four of Swords. Why is the Knight of Swords here? This can be about anger or rage that has been suppressed. Page of Pentacles, the Magician, the King of Pentacles, and the Page of Cups. So this is the career stuff I'm talking about. I almost feel like, I don't know how the relationship and the career path are connected, but they definitely are. You're still telling an old story, maybe about this relationship. Maybe the relationship is now meant to be some kind of financial collaboration rather than a top-down kind of experience that was out of balance. Maybe you were protecting money, or there's something about money here. So Gemini, in that 10th house of career, if you're telling yourself, or you're telling a new story about who you are in the public eye, right? 10th house is about our reputation. It's also about legacy and things we want to accomplish in life. With Gemini there, it's basically forcing you with that full moon in Gemini to come up with a new story. All right, to come up with a new story, or maybe you're writing a book, or maybe it's like literal that this is coming out of you and it's going to be a financial powerhouse. Page of Pentacles, got to learn something new to manifest the King of Pentacles. In your career, you've got to learn something new in order to manifest being the King of Pentacles. It's not going to happen if you don't learn something new. Same with the relationships. You've got to learn something new. So the moon showing up here, that new moon in Sagittarius. As soon as the solstice and the new moon in Sagittarius happens, then we get into Capricorn season. We're going to have Mars, Venus, the sun, Mercury transiting through Sagittarius in the early part of the month, and then into Capricorn. So there's this time of like, I love Mars in Capricorn. I have Mars in Capricorn in my birth chart, and it is really about getting shit done. So the beginning of the month is really about making new decisions. And then as we get that last 10 days of December of the year, you've started to plant seeds. There's the King of Wands. I like that. Taking some kind of action. That's Aries energy. Page of Wands on something you're excited about. Six of Swords moving forward. There's a collaboration. You're moving forward into some kind of collaboration, Virgo. And this can be within a love partnership. There can be, this person is very spiritual that you're dealing with. They're very balanced, maybe even powerful, spiritual force. They could be somebody who really does know about money or has their own business or something like that. But I almost feel like this person might be, it's possible this person is teaching you something, but there was a little bit, all due respect, there was a little bit of ego that got in the way here. But now I think there's, whatever this was, some kind of humbling situation that now says, all right, I'm ready to learn. Sometimes we get to a place where we can't learn anymore, and that's showing you that that's not going to be sustainable. All right. So there's some new opportunities coming in here for you to learn something new and be excited about something new and really reinvigorate that career. So excellent. All right. I'm going to continue on with this. I'll talk more about the astrology, and let's see where you go. I'm going to look at what you don't see coming, because that tower keeps catching my eye. So link is below if you want to continue on Virgo for December 2025. See you over there. All right, I hope you enjoyed that video. If it was helpful to you, please consider liking this video and sharing it with anybody who might have a need for similar kind of information. And if you like this video, check out these videos.